What is up, Xaliter here. Outward has a bunch of tough enemies and it is important to make sure you are as strong as you can be when you take them on. Boons are a great way to make your character stronger as they give you massive buffs. Here, I'll go over the different boons you can get in Outward Definitive Edition. Cool is a boon that gives you plus 20% frost damage, plus 20% frost resistance, and plus 8 hot weather defense for 240 seconds. This makes it great if you do frost damage or are fighting enemies that do frost damage. In addition, it is helpful when you are walking through the hot Abyssar Desert. Some ways to get the cool boon are the cool skill and the cool potion. For the cool skill, you can get it for 50 silver from the second watcher in the Conflux Chamber. He is located in a little campsite near the Leyline Water. It costs 8 mana to cast and has a cooldown of 120 seconds. For the cool potion, you can make it by putting a gravel beetle and water in an alchemy kit, or you can get it from the many alchemists that sell it. You can sometimes get gravel beetles when you mine things. Warm is a boon that gives you plus 20% fire damage, plus 20% fire resistance, and plus 8 cold weather defense for 240 seconds. This makes it great if you do fire damage or are fighting enemies that do fire damage. In addition, it is helpful when walking through the Chersonese in the winter. Some ways to get the warm boon are the warm skill, the warm potion, and some foods such as the seared or smoked root. For the warm skill, you can get it for 50 silver from the Smooth the Tailor in Levant. It costs 8 mana to cast and has a cooldown of 120 seconds. For the warm potion, you can make it by putting a thick oil plus water in an alchemy kit, or you can get it from the many alchemists that sell it. You can get thick oil from oil nodes or by killing troglodytes. You can gather smoke root from the Enmerker forest, and if you cook it, you can get seared root. Blessed is a boon that gives you plus 20% lightning damage and plus 20% lightning resistance for 240 seconds. This makes it great if you do lightning damage or are fighting enemies that do lightning damage. Some ways to get the blessed boon are the blessed skill and the blessed potion. For the blessed skill, you can get it for 50 silver from Mofat in Monsoon. It costs 8 mana to cast and has a cooldown of 120 seconds. For the blessed potion, you can make it by putting a firefly powder and water in an alchemy kit, or you can get it from the many alchemists that sell it. To get firefly powder, you can run into the fireflies in the hollowed marsh. After that, they will follow you around. You can walk over a firefly plant and the plant will eat the fireflies and give you a firefly powder. Possessed is a boon that gives you plus 20% decay damage and plus 20% decay resistance for 240 seconds. This makes it great if you do decay damage or are fighting enemies that do decay damage. Some ways to get the possessed boon are the possessed skill, the possessed potion, the golem elixir, and some foods such as the ragout de Morais. For the possessed skill, you can get it for free from the Friendly Immaculate located in all the 4 base regions. When talking with the Friendly Immaculate, you want to choose the "Can you help me" option, and then choose the "I need power" option. It costs 8 mana to cast and has a cooldown of 120 seconds. For the possessed potion, you can make it by putting an occult remains plus water in an alchemy kit, or you can get it from the many alchemists that sell it. You can get occult remains from fighting certain enemies such as the Wendigo or the Hivemen. For the golem elixir, you can make it by putting water, occult remains, blue sand, and crystal powder in the alchemy kit. You can get the blue sand from the beach in the Chersonese. You can get the crystal powder by putting 4 mana stones in an alchemy kit. For the ragout de Morais, you can make it by putting a miasma pod, meat, marshmallow, and salt in a cooking pot. You can find the miasma pod by fishing in the hollowed marsh, and you can find the marshmallows growing around the hollowed marsh. Mist is a boon that gives you plus 20% ethereal damage and plus 20% ethereal resistance for 240 seconds. This makes it great if you do ethereal damage or are fighting enemies that do ethereal damage. Some ways to get the mist boon are the mist skill and the mist potion. For the mist skill, you can get it for 50 silver from Cyril Turnbull in the Blue Chamber Collective in Berg. It costs 8 mana to cast and has a cooldown of 120 seconds. For the mist potion, you can make it by putting a ghost eye plus water in an alchemy kit, or you can get it from the many alchemists that sell it. You can find ghost eye from certain plants near ghost paths or by killing ghosts. Discipline is a boon that gives you plus 15% physical damage bonus for 240 seconds. This makes it great if you do physical damage, and since most weapons do at least some physical damage, this buff is always good. Some ways to get the Discipline boon are the Focus skill, Race skill, Discipline potion, Golem elixir, and Warrior elixir. For the Focus skill, you can get it for 50 silver from the Warrior Monk skill tree in Monsoon. It burns 4 stamina to cast and has a cooldown of 500 seconds. For the Brace skill, you can get it for 50 silver from the Warrior Monk skill tree in Monsoon. For the Brace skill to work, you need to have a melee weapon equipped, and you need to use the Brace skill right before you're about to get hit with a melee attack. It has a cooldown of 200 seconds. For the Discipline potion, you can make it by putting an Ochre Spice Beetle, Live Weedy, and water in an alchemy kit, or you can get it from the many alchemists that sell it. You can sometimes find Ochre Spice Beetles when you gather from plants. You can find Live Weedy by gathering it from plants around the hollowed marsh. For the Golem elixir, you can make it by putting water, occult remains, blue sand, and crystal powder in an alchemy kit. You can get occult remains from fighting certain enemies such as the Wendigo or Hivemen, and you can get the blue sand from the beach in the Chersonese. You can get the crystal powder by putting 4 mana stones in an alchemy kit. For the warrior elixir, you can make it by putting a crimp nut, crystal powder, larva egg, and water in an alchemy kit. You can find crimp nut by gathering it from plants in some of the dungeons in the Abyssar Desert and Hollowed Marsh. You can get larva eggs from fishing or from killing bugs or crustaceans like the mantis shrimp. Rage is a boon that gives you plus 25% impact bonus damage for 240 seconds. This makes it great if you want to knock the enemy down, which is always a good strategy to have. Some ways to get the Rage boon are the Enraged skill, Rage potion, Stoneflesh elixir, and some foods such as cooked alpha meat or alpha jerky. For the Enraged skill, you can get it for 50 silver from the Wild Hunter skill tree in Berg. It burns 4 health to cast and has a cooldown of 500 seconds. For the Rage potion, you can make it by putting a water plus smoke root plus gravel beetle in an alchemy kit, or you can get it from the many alchemists that sell it. You can gather smoke root from the Emmerker forest. You can sometimes get gravel beetles when you are mining. For the Stoneflesh elixir, you can make it by putting water, gravel beetle, insect husk, and crystal powder in an alchemy kit. You can get insect husks from killing bugs or crustaceans like the mantis shrimp. You can get the crystal powder by putting 4 mana stones in an alchemy kit. For the cooked alpha meat, you can get it by cooking raw alpha meat on a campfire or in a cooking pot. For the alpha jerky, you can get it by cooking 2 raw alpha meat with 2 salt in a cooking pot. You can get alpha meat from killing certain enemies like the black pearl bird in the Chersonese or the alpha coral horns in the Emmerker forest. That was an overview on boons. Even though these buffs are powerful, they are only here to boost you. You still need good equipment, as you could see me struggling in some of the fights in this video with my green worker attire. You can also have multiple boons active at the same time. I hope you found this video helpful. If you are having trouble starting out in Outward, click on the info card for some beginner tips. Otherwise, I'll see you later.